I'm about to reveal something that might shock you, something that's going to sound completely backwards from everything your doctor has told you about protein. If you're over 60 and you've been following standard medical advice to eat moderate amounts of protein, you could be accelerating muscle loss, weakening your bones, compromising your immune system, and setting yourself up for falls, fractures, and loss of independence. I'm Dr. Claire Whitmore, and after 20 years as a geriatric medicine specialist, I've watched thousands of seniors suffer devastating consequences from protein deficiency, while their doctors told them they were eating enough. I've seen the falls that lead to hip fractures. I've witnessed the muscle wasting that steals independence. I've diagnosed the immune compromise that turns minor infections into hospitalizations. And I've taught thousands of seniors the exact protein optimization protocols I'm about to share with you that rebuild muscle, strengthen bones, boost energy, and restore the physical capability you thought was gone forever. What I'm going to give you in this video is worth more than what most doctors charge for multiple office visits. You're getting the latest research published in the last 6 months that completely overturns conventional protein recommendations for seniors. You're getting a complete diagnostic framework to identify if you're protein deficient right now. You're getting the exact gram-by-gram protocol for your specific body weight and activity level. You're getting the meal timing strategies that maximize muscle protein synthesis in aging bodies. You're getting the supplement recommendations with specific brands and dosages that fill gaps when whole food isn't enough. And you're getting the warning signs that mean your protein deficiency has already caused dangerous muscle loss requiring immediate intervention. Stay with me through every minute because missing one piece could mean the difference between maintaining your independence and ending up in assisted living within 5 years. This isn't theory. This is practical, actionable information based on the latest peer-reviewed research and my 2 decades of clinical experience helping seniors just like you reverse muscle loss and regain strength they thought was permanently gone. What you're about to learn contradicts what 90% of doctors tell their older patients, but the science is irrefutable and the results are life-changing. Let me start by telling you about 5 critical mistakes seniors make with protein intake, because understanding what's wrong is essential before we can fix it. Each of these mistakes accelerates aging, destroys muscle, and steals your independence, and I'm going to show you exactly how to correct every single one. Mistake number 1 is following outdated RDA recommendations that were never designed for older adults. The recommended daily allowance for protein is 0, 8 grams per kilogram of body weight. For a 150-pound senior, that's just 54 grams of protein per day. This recommendation was established in the 1980s based on studies of young, healthy adults and was designed to prevent deficiency diseases, not to optimize health in aging bodies. Recent research published in the Journal of the American Medical Directors Association shows that seniors need at least 2 to 1, 6 grams per kilogram of body weight to maintain muscle mass, with some studies suggesting up to 0 grams per kilogram for those recovering from illness or trying to rebuild lost muscle. Here's why this matters. As you age, your body develops what scientists call anabolic resistance. This means your muscles become less responsive to protein. When a 25-year-old eats 20 grams of protein, their muscles efficiently use it to build and maintain tissue. When a 70-year-old eats that same 20 grams, their muscles use only a fraction of it effectively. The rest gets burned for energy or converted to glucose. Your body essentially becomes protein resistant, similar to how some people become insulin resistant. To overcome this anabolic resistance, you need significantly more protein per meal and more total protein throughout the day. The old RDA recommendation might prevent kwashiorkor, but it guarantees sarcopenia, the devastating muscle loss that affects 45% of Americans over 60. If you've been following your doctor's advice to eat moderate protein, if you're consuming 50 to 60 grams daily, if you feel weaker than you did 5 years ago, if you struggle to get up from chairs without using your arms, if you've noticed your legs look thinner, if you tire easily during activities that used to be simple, you are almost certainly protein deficient by modern standards. The proper target for most seniors is 90 to 120 grams of protein daily, depending on your body weight. That's nearly double what conventional medicine recommends, and it's the difference between thriving independence and accelerating decline. Mistake number 2 is spreading protein too thin across the day with small, inadequate portions at each meal. Many seniors eat a piece of toast with jam for breakfast, a small sandwich for lunch, and a modest portion of chicken or fish for dinner. This pattern provides maybe 15 grams at breakfast, 20 grams at lunch, and 30 grams at dinner, totaling 65 grams if you're lucky. But here's the problem. Recent research on muscle protein synthesis shows that older adults need a minimum threshold of 25 to 30 grams of high-quality protein in a single meal to trigger muscle building. Below that threshold, your body primarily uses the protein for energy rather than muscle maintenance and repair. Think of muscle protein synthesis like starting a fire. If you add one small twig at a time, you never generate enough heat to create sustained flames. But if you add a substantial bundle of kindling all at once, you create a fire that burns hot and productive. Protein works the same way in aging muscles. Small amounts throughout the day never reach the threshold needed to activate the muscle-building machinery. You need concentrated protein doses that exceed the activation threshold. The optimal pattern for seniors involves consuming 30 to 40 grams of protein at each of 3 main meals. This might look like 3 eggs plus 2 slices of turkey bacon at breakfast, providing 32 grams, a large chicken breast salad at lunch providing 38 grams, and a 6-ounce salmon fillet with Greek yogurt dessert at dinner providing 45 grams. This distribution totals 115 grams and ensures each meal reaches the threshold for muscle protein synthesis. Compare this to the typical senior eating pattern, where breakfast provides minimal protein, lunch provides moderate protein, and only dinner reaches adequate levels. That pattern wastes 2 meals worth of muscle-building opportunity every single day. If you eat cereal or oatmeal for breakfast with no significant protein source, if your lunch is primarily carbohydrates like sandwiches or salads with minimal meat, if you only eat substantial protein at dinner, you are making mistake number 2. Your muscles are being starved for 16 hours of every 24-hour cycle, and that's why you're losing strength and muscle mass despite eating what seems like adequate total protein. Mistake number 3 is choosing low-quality protein sources that lack essential amino acids, particularly leucine. Not all protein is created equal, especially for older adults. Your muscles require 9 essential amino acids to build and maintain tissue, and one amino acid called leucine plays a uniquely critical role in activating muscle protein synthesis. Leucine is the trigger that tells your muscles to start building. Without adequate leucine, even high-quality protein fails to maximize muscle growth and maintenance. Animal proteins including beef, chicken, fish, eggs, and dairy provide complete amino acid profiles with high leucine content. Plant proteins including beans, lentils, nuts, seeds, and grains typically lack 1 or more essential amino acids and contain much lower leucine levels. For a senior to get the same muscle-building effect from plant protein as from animal protein requires consuming substantially more total protein and combining multiple plant sources to achieve complete amino acid profiles. Here's the mechanism you need to understand. When you eat a meal containing 30 grams of protein from chicken breast, you're getting approximately 5 grams of leucine, which exceeds the 0 to 2. 5-gram threshold needed to fully activate muscle protein synthesis in older adults. When you eat 30 grams of protein from beans and rice, you're getting approximately 4 grams of leucine, which falls below the activation threshold. Your body gets the protein, but it never fully triggers the muscle-building response. Over months and years, this leucine deficiency results in progressive muscle loss despite seemingly adequate total protein intake. The highest leucine sources are whey protein at 11% leucine by weight, chicken breast at 8%, beef at 8%, fish at 8%, eggs at 5%, and Greek yogurt at 10%. Plant sources range from 6 to 7% at best, with many providing only 3 to 4%. For seniors committed to plant-based diets, this means consuming 50% more total protein and carefully combining sources at every meal to achieve adequate leucine and complete amino acid profiles. It's absolutely possible, but requires much more intentional planning than animal-based approaches. If you've reduced red meat because your doctor said it's unhealthy, if you're eating more plant-based meals thinking they're better for your heart, if you've replaced meat with beans and whole grains, if you avoid eggs because of cholesterol concerns, you are likely leucine deficient and your muscles are paying the price. The proper approach balances heart health with muscle health by choosing lean animal proteins, incorporating fatty fish, using eggs liberally, and supplementing strategically when whole food protein is insufficient. Mistake number 4 is ignoring meal timing and consuming most protein late in the day when utilization is suboptimal. Your body's ability to use protein for muscle building varies throughout the day based on circadian rhythms, hormone levels, and activity patterns. Research shows that muscle protein synthesis responds more robustly to protein consumed earlier in the day compared to evening meals. Yet most seniors eat minimal protein at breakfast, moderate protein at lunch, and concentrate protein at dinner when their bodies are least able to use it effectively. The physiological reason involves cortisol and insulin sensitivity patterns. Cortisol, which has muscle-sparing effects, peaks in the morning. Insulin sensitivity, which helps shuttle amino acids into muscle cells, is highest in the morning and declines throughout the day. Exercise, if you do it, typically occurs in morning or afternoon hours when your muscles are primed to use protein for recovery and growth. By evening, these favorable conditions have diminished. Protein consumed at dinner still provides amino acids, but the muscle-building response is approximately 30% lower compared to the same amount consumed at breakfast. The optimal timing strategy front-loads protein consumption with the largest portion at breakfast, substantial protein at lunch, and moderate protein at dinner. This might seem counterintuitive since dinner is typically the largest meal in American culture, but aligning protein intake with your body's natural rhythms maximizes utilization and minimizes waste. A 40-gram protein breakfast, 35-gram protein lunch, and 30-gram protein dinner totaling 105 grams will build more muscle than a 15-gram breakfast, 25-gram lunch, and 65-gram dinner totaling the same 105 grams. If you skip breakfast or eat only carbohydrates, if you save your appetite for dinner, thinking one large meal is sufficient, if you consume 60% of your daily protein in the evening, you are working against your body's natural protein utilization patterns. The correction involves shifting protein distribution toward earlier meals. Even if this feels unnatural initially, your body will adapt within 2 weeks, and the improvement in energy, strength, and muscle maintenance will validate the change. Mistake number 5 is neglecting resistance exercise that signals your muscles to use protein for growth rather than just maintenance. You can eat optimal protein quantities with perfect timing and complete amino acid profiles, but if you never challenge your muscles with resistance training, most of that protein will be wasted. Exercise, particularly resistance exercise, creates a powerful synergy with dietary protein that multiplies muscle-building effects far beyond what either element achieves alone. Here's the mechanism. When you perform resistance exercise, you create microscopic damage in muscle fibers. This damage triggers repair processes that rebuild the damaged areas stronger than before. But the rebuilding requires amino acids as raw material. If you exercise without adequate protein, your body cannot complete the repair and strengthening process. If you consume adequate protein without exercise, your body has raw material but no signal to use it for building. Exercise creates demand. Protein supplies the resources. Together they produce muscle growth and maintenance that neither achieves independently. The research is clear. Seniors who consume high protein without resistance training maintain muscle better than those consuming low protein, but they don't build new muscle or regain lost strength. Seniors who perform resistance training with inadequate protein make minimal progress because they lack building materials. Seniors who combine high protein intake with consistent resistance training experience remarkable muscle growth, strength gains, and functional improvements even into their 80s and 90s. The combination creates what scientists call a supraphysiological response, meaning results that exceed what the body could achieve through natural aging processes. The resistance training doesn't need to be complex or time-consuming. 3 sessions per week of 30 to 40 minutes focusing on major muscle groups using progressive resistance provides sufficient stimulus. Bodyweight exercises, resistance bands, light dumbbells, or gym machines all work effectively. The critical principles are progressive overload, meaning gradually increasing resistance over time, and consistency, meaning regular training that never stops. Your muscles respond to protein based on the signals they receive. Give them strong signals through resistance training, and they'll use available protein to build and strengthen. Give them no signals, and they'll waste the protein. If you haven't done strength training since you were young, if you think you're too old to build muscle, if you believe cardio exercise is sufficient, if you eat adequate protein but never challenge your muscles with resistance, you are missing half of the muscle-building equation. The proper approach combines optimized protein intake with consistent resistance training, creating synergy that restores strength, independence, and physical capability you may not have experienced in decades. Now let me give you a diagnostic self-assessment you can perform right now to determine if you're protein deficient. Stand up from your chair without using your hands or arms to push yourself up. Can you do it easily in one smooth motion? Or do you need to rock forward, use momentum, or push with your hands? If you cannot stand from a standard chair without using your arms, you have significant muscle weakness indicating probable protein deficiency combined with inactivity. This is called the chair stand test, and it's one of the most predictive assessments of functional decline in older adults. Second assessment. Look at your upper arms and thighs. Compare them mentally to how they looked 5 or 10 years ago. Has the circumference decreased noticeably? Can you see or feel less muscle mass? Muscle loss typically shows most obviously in the upper arms, where the biceps and triceps shrink, and in the thighs, where the quadriceps diminish. If you've lost visible muscle mass in these areas, you're experiencing sarcopenia that requires immediate intervention with protein optimization and resistance training. Let me address a dangerous myth that circulates widely among seniors and even among doctors who should know better. Many people believe that high protein intake damages kidneys and should be avoided, especially in older adults. You might have heard this from your doctor. You might have read it in health magazines. You might believe it yourself. This belief is preventing millions of seniors from consuming the protein they desperately need. Here's the truth. High protein intake does not damage healthy kidneys. Multiple large-scale studies have examined kidney function in people consuming high-protein diets over many years, and these studies consistently show no kidney damage in people with normal kidney function at baseline. The confusion stems from recommendations for people who already have chronic kidney disease. In advanced kidney disease, where the kidneys have lost significant filtering capacity, high-protein intake creates extra waste products that damaged kidneys struggle to eliminate. For these individuals, protein restriction is medically appropriate, but this recommendation for sick kidneys has been inappropriately extrapolated to healthy kidneys, creating widespread fear of protein among people who would benefit dramatically from eating more. If you have normal kidney function, which you can verify with a simple blood test, measuring creatinine and estimated glomerular filtration rate, high-protein intake is completely safe and actually protective for your muscles, bones, and metabolic health. The proper approach involves getting kidney function tested if you're concerned, which takes 5 minutes and costs minimal money. If your tests show normal kidney function, which they will for 90% of seniors, you can confidently consume 2 to 1. 6 grams of protein per kilogram body weight without any kidney concerns. If your tests show chronic kidney disease, then yes, you need to work with your doctor to determine appropriate protein levels for your specific situation. But don't let unfounded fear of kidney damage prevent you from eating the protein your muscles require. Let me tell you about Margaret, who at 68 struggled to climb stairs, felt exhausted by mid-afternoon, and watched helplessly as her legs became thinner and weaker each year. Her doctor had told her to eat a balanced diet with moderate protein, which she interpreted as 50 to 60 grams daily, spread across small portions at each meal. Margaret's chair stand test showed she needed to push with both hands to stand up. Her upper arms had visibly less muscle than photos from 5 years earlier. We worked together to increase her protein to 110 grams daily, distributed as 35 grams at breakfast, 35 grams at lunch, and 40 grams at dinner. She added 3 weekly resistance training sessions, starting with light dumbbells and body weight exercises. Within 6 weeks, Margaret noticed she could stand from chairs without using her hands. Within 3 months, her energy lasted all day and climbing stairs became easy. Within 6 months, measurements showed she had gained 5 pounds of muscle mass while losing 3 pounds of fat. She told me it felt like she had reversed a decade of aging. Her transformation came entirely from correcting protein deficiency and adding minimal resistance exercise. Robert, 72, had been following a plant-based diet for heart health but noticed progressive weakness and frequent falls. His protein intake averaged 65 grams daily, which seemed adequate, but most came from beans, lentils, and whole grains with inadequate leucine content. His muscles were literally starving for essential amino acids, despite consuming reasonable total protein. We modified his diet to include fish 4 times weekly, eggs daily, and Greek yogurt as snacks, increasing his protein to 100 grams with complete amino acid profiles at every meal. His leucine intake more than doubled. Combined with resistance training 3 times weekly, Robert regained strength he hadn't felt in 15 years. His fall risk decreased dramatically. His energy and confidence returned. His experience demonstrates that protein quality matters as much as quantity for aging muscles. Before I give you the complete action protocol, I need to talk about warning signs that mean your protein deficiency has already caused dangerous muscle loss, requiring immediate medical attention and supervised intervention. If you've fallen twice or more in the past 6 months, especially falls that occurred because your legs gave out or you felt too weak to catch yourself, you need to see your doctor immediately for sarcopenia assessment. Recurrent falls indicate severe muscle weakness that increases your risk of hip fractures, head injuries, and loss of independence. Do not wait. If you've lost more than 10 pounds unintentionally in the past 6 months without trying to lose weight, especially if that weight loss shows in your arms and legs rather than your belly, go to your doctor this week. Unintentional weight loss in seniors is almost always muscle loss, not fat loss, and it indicates either inadequate protein intake, underlying disease, or metabolic problems requiring medical evaluation. Rapid muscle loss can indicate cancer, thyroid disease, uncontrolled diabetes, or other serious conditions that need immediate diagnosis and treatment. If you cannot walk up a flight of stairs without stopping to rest, if you cannot carry groceries from your car to your kitchen without multiple trips, if you cannot get up from the floor without assistance, these functional limitations indicate severe sarcopenia requiring comprehensive medical evaluation, including muscle mass measurement, strength testing, and metabolic assessment. These limitations predict hospitalization, nursing home placement, and mortality. They demand immediate intervention, not casual diet changes attempted on your own. Here's your complete action checklist to implement starting tonight. 1. Calculate your target daily protein intake by converting your weight to kilograms, which is your weight in pounds divided by 2. 2. Then multiplying by 1, 2 to 1. 6. For a 160-pound senior, that's 73 kilograms times 1. 4, which equals 102 grams of protein daily. 2. Audit your current protein intake for 3 days by writing down everything you eat and calculating the protein content using food labels or online databases. Most seniors discover they're eating 40 to 50% less protein than they need. 3. Restructure your meals to include 30 to 40 grams of high-quality protein at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. This requires substantial portions at breakfast, which is the biggest change for most people. 4. Prioritize leucine-rich protein sources, including eggs, chicken breast, fish, lean beef, pork tenderloin, Greek yogurt, and cottage cheese. Each meal should include at least one of these high-leucine sources as the protein centerpiece. 5. If you cannot meet protein targets through whole food alone, add a high-quality whey protein supplement providing 25 to 30 grams of protein per serving. The brand I recommend is Optimum Nutrition Gold Standard Whey because it provides complete amino acid profiles with high leucine content and mixes easily for seniors who may have difficulty with chalky textures. Take it as a mid-morning or mid-afternoon snack to boost daily totals without forcing larger meal portions. 6. Schedule resistance training 3 times weekly, focusing on major muscle groups, including legs, chest, back, and arms. If you've never done strength training or haven't trained in years, hire a personal trainer with senior fitness certification for 3 to 6 sessions to learn proper form and establish a safe progression. Many gyms offer senior-specific strength training classes that provide structure and social support. 7. Get baseline measurements including body weight, arm circumference measured around the largest part of your bicep, and thigh circumference measured around the largest part of your thigh. Remeasure monthly to track muscle gain. 8. Perform the chair stand test weekly. Stand from a standard chair without using your hands or arms. Count how many times you can stand and sit in 30 seconds. Healthy seniors average 12 to 15 repetitions. Improvement in this test predicts reduced fall risk and maintained independence. 9. Have your kidney function tested if you're concerned about high protein intake damaging your kidneys. A basic metabolic panel measuring creatinine and estimated glomerular filtration rate will show if your kidneys are healthy enough for increased protein, which they almost certainly are. 10. Front-load your protein consumption by making breakfast your highest protein meal with 35 to 45 grams. This aligns with your body's natural circadian rhythms and maximizes muscle protein synthesis. 11. Consume protein within 2 hours after resistance training sessions when muscles are most responsive to amino acids. A protein shake or high-protein meal post-workout provides the raw materials your muscles need for repair and growth. 12. Track your progress systematically by keeping a simple log showing daily protein intake, weekly resistance training sessions, monthly circumference measurements, and monthly chair stand test results. Data reveals progress that motivates continued adherence. 13. Educate your doctor about updated protein recommendations for seniors if they're still recommending outdated RDA guidelines. Bring printed research from the Journal of the American Medical Directors Association or the Journal of Nutrition, Health and Aging showing that seniors need 1:2 to 1, 6 grams per kilogram, not 0. 8. Many physicians simply haven't updated their knowledge on this rapidly evolving topic. 14. Join a community of seniors focused on strength and muscle maintenance, either in person through gym classes or online through forums and social media groups. Social support dramatically increases adherence to protein and exercise protocols. 15. Commit to this optimization for at least 6 months before evaluating results. Muscle rebuilding takes time. You didn't lose your muscle overnight and you won't regain it overnight. But consistent protein optimization combined with resistance training produces remarkable results that justify the patience required. Before we close, I need 3 things from you. First, subscribe to this channel right now if you haven't already. I'm committed to giving you information of this depth and quality in every video, medical knowledge that actually changes your life, not generic health tips you've heard 100 times. This channel exists to give you the research-based protocols that maintain your independence, strength, and quality of life as you age. Second, share this video with anyone you know over 60 who seems weaker than they used to be, who struggles with stairs, who has thinner arms and legs than they did 5 years ago, who eats small portions thinking they're being healthy. Send them this video. This information could literally prevent falls, fractures, and loss of independence. The people in your life deserve to know that their muscle loss isn't inevitable aging but correctable protein deficiency. And third, leave a comment. Tell me what your current protein intake is and how it compares to your calculated target. Tell me which of these 5 mistakes you've been making. Ask questions if anything is unclear. I read every comment and I respond to as many as I can. Your questions help me understand what topics need deeper coverage in future videos. Your muscles have served you faithfully for 7, 8, or 9 decades. Every step you've taken, every task you've accomplished, every moment of physical capability has depended on the strength and function of your muscles. They deserve the nutritional support they need to continue serving you well. When they're weak and wasted, they're telling you something is wrong. Listen to them. Feed them the protein they require. Challenge them with resistance that makes them stronger. The protocol I've given you works. Implement it today. Start your journey toward regained strength, restored independence, and physical capability you thought was permanently gone. Take care of yourself.